Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel once again. In this video we are asked to solve for x from this equation, so stay tuned and let's learn together. And so from the question we were given the third root of 4 minus s squared plus the square root of s squared minus 3 is equal to 1. From here we have two terms over here, so we are going to let a to be equal to the third root of 4 minus s squared, and then b to be equal to the square root of s squared minus 3. So we are going to call this as equation 1 and then this as equation 2. So when we substitute a and b into the original equation given in the question, we are going to have a plus b to be equal to 1. And so from here, when we make b the subject, we are going to have b to be equal to 1 minus a. So let's call this as equation number 3. And then from equation 1, we are given a to be equal to the third root of 4 minus s squared. And from here, when we want to get rid of the third root, what we are going to do is that we are going to raise both sides to the power 3. So when we do that, we are going to have a to the power 3 is equal to 4 minus s squared. So let's call this as equation number 4. Now let us consider equation 2. So from equation 2, we were given b is equal to the square root of s squared minus 3. So from here, when we want to get rid of the square root, we can do that by squaring both sides. And so when we do that, we are going to have b squared is equal to s squared minus 3. So let's call this as equation number 5. So what we are going to do next is that we are going to add equation 4 to equation 5. So we are going to add equation 4 to 5. So equation 4 is given by a cubed is equal to 4 minus s squared. Then equation 5 is given by b squared is equal to s squared minus 3. So when we add these two equations, we are going to have a to the power 3 plus b squared is going to give us a cubed plus b squared. So this will be equal to, now 4 minus 3 is going to give us 1, and then minus s squared plus s squared is going to give us 0. So I'm not going to write that. So let's call this as equation number 6. But from equation 3, we made b the subject. And so with respect to equation 6, we are going to convert the equation into equation containing only the variable a by substituting b is equal to 1 minus a into wherever you see b. And so we are going to have a to the power 3 plus b is what? 1 minus a. So we're going to have 1 minus a squared is equal to 1. And so from here we are going to have a cubed plus, now when we expand this, we are going to have 1 minus 2a plus a squared is equal to 1. And so when you move positive 1 to the right hand side, it's going to cancel out this, so we are going to get 0. So the equation now becomes a to the power 3 minus 2a plus a squared is equal to 0. Now from the left hand side, we have a in common, so I'm going to factorize a out. So a out, we are going to be left with a squared minus 2 plus a. So this will be equal to 0. Now let me rewrite what is inside the bracket well. So we are going to have a into a squared plus a minus 2 is equal to 0. Now from here we have two factors. So it's either a is equal to 0, or we have a squared plus a minus 2 is equal to 0, or the 2 will equal to 0 as it is over here. Now we already know that a is equal to 0 is one of our answers for a. And so let us solve for the other one, a squared plus a minus 2b. And so from here we are having a squared plus a minus 2 is equal to 0. Now we are going to manipulate a, in that we are going to rewrite a as 2a minus a. This is the same as a. So we can rewrite a as 2a minus a. Now you are going to have a squared plus 2a minus a minus 2 is equal to 0. Now from the left hand side, I'm going to factorize the terms in batches, the first two terms and the last two terms. So let's go ahead and do that. And so you are going to have a out, leaving a plus 2. And then from the second two terms, we can factorize negative 1 out. So negative 1 out, leaving a plus 2 is equal to 0. And so from here, we are going to have a minus 1 multiplying a plus 2 is equal to 0. So again, we have two factors. So it's either a minus 1 is equal to 0, or we have a plus 2 to be equal to 0, or both of them will be equal to 0. And so we are going to have a to be equal to 1 as one of our answers for a. And then from here, we are going to have a to be equal to minus 2. Now we are having the values of a as 1, 0, and then negative 2. So let us use these answers to solve for x from this equation, equation 1. Now let me rewrite the answers here. So we had a to be equal to 0, 1, and then negative 2. So let me clean this side. Now from equation 1, we have a to be equal to the third root of 4 minus s squared. And so when we consider when a is equal to 0, what are we going to get for x? So we are going to have 0 to be equal to the third root of 4 minus s squared. Now to be able to get rid of the third root, you have to raise both sides to the power 3. So when we do that, we are going to have 0 to be equal to 4 minus s squared. When we make s squared a subject, we are going to have s squared to be equal to 4. And so to be able to get rid of the squared over here, we are going to have x to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 4. And x will be equal to plus or minus 2. So these are some answers for x. Now let us consider when a is equal to 1. So from that, we are going to have 1 to be equal to the third root of 4 minus s squared. Now when we raise both sides to the power 3, we are going to have 1 cube is equal to 4 minus s squared, which are going to have 1 to be equal to 4 minus s squared. And so from here, we are going to have s squared is equal to 3. Hope you understand. I sent s squared to the left hand side and then 1 to the right hand side. And so that gives me this. And so from here, to be able to get rid of the squared over here, we are going to take the square root of both sides, which we are going to have x to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. Now let us consider our last answer for a. When a is equal to negative 2, what are you going to get for x? You are going to have negative 2 to be equal to the third root of 4 minus s squared. Now from here, we are going to have negative 2 to the power 3 is equal to 4 minus s squared. So negative 2 to the power 3 is going to give us negative 8, and this will be equal to 4 minus s squared. Now when we send positive 4 to the left hand side, we are going to have negative 8 minus 4 is equal to minus s squared. And so we are going to have minus 12 is equal to minus s squared, which we are going to have s squared to be equal to 12. Now from here, to be able to get rid of this squared over here, we are going to take the square root of both sides, which are going to have x to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 12. Now from here, let us break the square root of 12 down. We are not going to leave it here. So let me clean this. So when we consider 12, we can rewrite 12 as 4 times 3. We know 4 times 3 gives us 12. So we can rewrite 12 as 4 times 3. So you're going to have x to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 4 times 3. And from here, we can have x to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 4 times square root of 3. So x will be equal to plus or minus square root of 4 is 2, and then 2 times root 3 is 2 root 3. Now finally we are having 6 answers for x. From this side I'm going to have x to be equal to 2 root 3, and then we're also going to have minus 2 root 3. Then from here we are going to have s to be equal to 2 and then negative 2. And then over here too, we are going to have s to be equal to root 3 and then minus root 3. So these are our 6 answers that will satisfy x. You know, when we were solving the thing, we only used a to solve for the values of x. Now you can also go the other way around. You can use the values of b to see if you can get same answers for x. And I know that it's going to give us the same answer. So if you want to try that, you can do that and let me know your answers in the comment section. Thank you for watching. If today is your first time on our channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and then you comment as well. See you in our next video. Bye bye for now.